Hi, I'm Brad Richdale. I'm a direct marketing strategist who's been helping businesses, both big and small, all across the globe for the last 12 years. My thousands of students say that my information on direct marketing is the most comprehensive they've ever reviewed, and the results that we've seen in affecting people's lives are absolutely incredible. Here's what some of them have to say.
You got to have some background. You got to have some data behind you. You got to know what to do, what advertising works, how to run advertising tests, and those are essential, and they're kind of fun after a while to see. You know, the most exciting moment of the day for me, when I get an order, is not so much the actual cash flow, but the most fun part is to go into the database and see where that customer came from. Mm-hmm. And you know, I've placed a few obscure ads in a few obscure places, and every now and then one of those buys, and to me that's a victory. Not the money, but the fact that yes, I got an order from there, and that's where the fun comes in.
What I did was I used some of your ideas to go ahead and get free advertising. I didn't think free advertising at first was, you know, a reality.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It is hard to believe. I mean, free advertising, who's going to give you basically their money? But I thought, well, I'll give it a try. I'll go ahead and give it a try. See, well, you know, worst thing can happen, I won't get it. But if I do, think of where I'll be. So I tried to get free advertising. My first try, I got a full-page ad that's worth $4,000 in a magazine that goes out to 250,000 people.
With my existing business, I was able to place a few ads and do a little drops in the direct mailing, and I was able to receive probably about a 30% increase in the last 2 months. And I started a new business through you, and I've been seeing a tremendous increase. My first month was $1,700, and my second month it was $8,000.
I found that your system is a step-by-step system. It not only gives you ideas, it gives you strategies. And with an idea without a strategy is basically useless. It breaks it down, it tells you what you need to do today, what you need to do tomorrow, a week from now, 6 months from now to be successful. And I think that's one of the biggest disadvantages with other courses is they give you these ideas, no strategy, no specific plan, course of action that you need to take, and therefore a lot of people fail. And they think as a result that everything in society is a failure. What they don't realize is there is hope out there. There is courses, you know, this particular course, that can help you. And I'm living proof of what it can do to somebody that really has a true desire to succeed. You implement these strategies, these ideas, and you're almost guaranteed success. But you have to be the type of person that wants to make a change. And if you do, and you utilize the strategies and techniques within the course, there's no level in the amount of success you can reach.
When I first realized that direct marketing would work, I tried a few programs, some of the lesser valued ones in my eyes. And I did do pretty well. I made, you know, $80 to $100 a day. Unfortunately, because those programs were flawed, most of that money was going right back out. With your program, within that first week, I immediately did 10 times what I usually did. It went from $80 to $100 a day to $800 to $1,000 a day.
I tell you, the most important key to working for yourself is freedom. And of course, there's no price tag on that, no matter how much money you make. But I now no longer have to answer to anyone. I can do what I want to, when I want to do it, and I'm in complete control, as opposed to working for someone else and working hard for them and making them all the money.
Have you ever been curious why most people that go into business fail? Well, the answer is very simple. They don't know how to get people to pay them for whatever they have to offer, whether it's a product, service, or information. In the next few minutes, if you're ready to begin a business, I'm going to show you exactly how to take your idea and multiply it systematically into profits overnight. And if you already have a business, I'm going to show you specifically what to do, step by step, to make that business more profitable. I practice a method of marketing called direct marketing. Now, it's highly different than traditional forms of advertising. As a matter of fact, if you go to an advertising agency and tell them that you want to be involved with direct marketing, they'll probably laugh at you because most advertising agencies are filled with artists. Now, I don't have anything against advertising agencies, but friends of mine that have come to me that didn't know anything about direct marketing said that they had an advertising agency handling their business's account. And after they lost thousands of dollars, they went to their advertising agency and said, this isn't working. And most advertising agencies have a standard response: you need to spend more money. Well, The reason is that they use an approach of advertising called institutional advertising, and I use direct response advertising, and there's a big difference. Institutional advertising is dramatically different because it's designed to entertain the viewer, the listener, or the reader. With my advertising, it's simply and very succinctly salesmanship in print, on television, radio, or direct mail. There's a big difference. With institutional advertising, you're not accountable for sales. With direct response advertising, every single advertising effort has to produce a profit. If it doesn't produce a profit, we don't continue it. It's that simple. And that's the difference between direct response advertising and institutional advertising. I want you to master the skills in direct response advertising so that you're highly effective and every advertising effort that you make is profitable. How do we do that? Well, we test. We test one approach versus another. And in direct response advertising, by testing these approaches, we found that one single advertising effort and one minor change in the testing process can outproduce the other that we're testing against by as much as 100, 200, 300, even as much as 500% and more. In the testing process, just one minor adjustment in your advertising effort can make a dramatic difference. Let me give you an example of how we test. Now, the first thing that you want to remember when you're testing in any direct response advertising effort is that you can only test one thing at a time. The first thing that we want to test in a direct response advertising effort is headlines. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself, that headlines aren't important in advertising, but let me ask you a question. When you pick up the newspaper and you read stories in the newspaper, what do you read first? The headline, right? As a matter of fact, statistics show that most people won't read an article unless the headline gets their attention and then the first paragraph of the article really gets their attention. That's how we read newspapers, and that's exactly how we respond to advertising. Headlines are the ad for the ad, and it's the same whether you're doing radio, TV, direct mail, any type of advertising effort. We're bombarded with advertising messages every day, so we have to get people's attention. The headline's the first thing that we test in the direct response advertising testing process. The next thing that we test is price. Price is dramatic as far as an influence on direct response marketing. You know, my partner once sold a product for $25. He then went out and tested $35 as a price and found just as many people bought his product at $35 as they did at $25. But you know what? His business was already profitable at $25, so when he increased the price to $35, it added an incredible amount of profit in the advertising places where he was already running his ads, and it also allowed him to run advertising messages in other advertising sources that previously didn't make him money. So we want to test price because you and I can sit together and say that we've got a great idea, we've got a great product, and we come up with a price that we think people are going to buy it for, but we might be too high or too low. Now, at the same time, you could lower your price. Let's say you're selling a product for $19.95. You might lower it to $14.95 and triple the number of orders that you'll get from a consumer. So price testing is the next thing that we want to do in direct response advertising, remembering that we can only test one thing at a time. Now, the next thing that we want to test is bonuses. Remember the types of ads that you've heard on the radio or seen on TV where they give you an extra bonus for acting now or for buying right now. They help to induce our decision to buy. In addition to which, we want to test guarantees. We want to take the risk off of the purchaser's shoulders in making a decision. It makes them easier to act. Remember, we're doing remote control salesmanship. That's the whole essence of direct marketing. And then the next thing that we want to do is we want to test our forms of urgency, getting people to act right now so that they don't postpone the buying decision. These are the essential elements that we want to test in crafting and developing a direct marketing offer. And when you master these, the results are absolutely incredible. I've worked with businesses over a half hour to 45-minute lunch that are significantly sized businesses, 10, 15, $20 million and more businesses, giving them one of these ideas and increase their profits by as much as 20 and 30% during that short lunch. And you know what? If you master these, you can do the exact same thing too, because most of the people that are out there in the business community today, they don't have any idea about direct response advertising and direct marketing techniques, they've never even heard of the concept of testing. And just by taking one approach versus another, you can start to make money immediately, helping people that are already in business, or helping your own business get started, or helping any existing business promote their goods, service, and products more profitably. Now, there's a lot of different formulas for creating advertising, but one of the most basic formulas, and you've probably heard it before, is the AIDA formula. And AIDA stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Now, as I said, the first thing that we want to test in any advertising effort in direct response marketing is we want to test the headline or the equivalent, the opening statement, so that whether you're using print, direct mail, radio, or television, we want to grab the attention of the reader, listener, or viewer and stop them dead in their tracks. Remember, when we get their attention, the ad for the ad is the headline or the opening statement. The second thing that we want to do is create interest. We want to tell them what's in it for them. You know, the people that are reading your advertising, listening it, or watching it, or getting it in their mailbox, they don't care about your problems. They only care about what's in it for them. They want to know that if they have a problem, you have a solution. And by the way, the best products to offer are ones that provide solutions instantly for common problems. You also want to give them the specific, succinct benefits of what your product, service, or information has to offer. And in the attention order of the AIDA formula, you also want to tell them why your product is different than the competition. And be specific. Don't make general claims, make specific claims. If there's any research about your product, you want to disclose that. And in comparison tests versus other competitive products, you also want to let the person that's looking at your particular offer know exactly why what you have to offer is better. In any scientific studies, these help convince the person in the decision-making process and in the selling process for direct response marketing. The next thing we want to do is we want to create a burning desire for someone to avail themselves of your product, service, or information. And we do that by offering testimonials and bonuses and things that invoke emotion for people to act. Remember this, that people always make decisions based on emotion in any buying situation, and then they later back them up with logic. And then finally, we want to get that reader, viewer, or listener to take action now. We don't want them to postpone the buying decision. We want to grab them by the hand and lead them through the sales process and tell them specifically what they need to do to order or try our product, service, or information. We want to tell them exactly what to do. Pick up the phone and make the call. Fill out this reply card and send it back within the next 72 hours, and you'll get the following 3 bonuses. Examples like that you see are great ones to save. You know, your mailbox is full of great advertising offers every day, and up until now, you probably threw them away. Let me suggest something. I'd start saving them. When you see great advertising on television, make sure that you document it. When you hear it on the radio, you're going to hear this AIDA formula over and over again. And when you master this simple formula of attention, interest, desire, and action, you're going to understand the essential elements that are necessary in every direct response advertising effort you make. The basics of any successful product, service, or information offer in direct response advertising have 3 common factors. First of all, they solve a common problem. Now, if you've got a great idea and it solves a problem for about 3% of the audience out there, let me tell you, that might be something that you want to start later on, but not right now. You want to pick a product that solves a common problem. Ask yourself this question: can just about everybody use what I have to offer? And if the answer is no, let me suggest that you put that idea off for some time later in the future. The second thing that you must have in a successful direct response advertising offer, one that's going to be extremely profitable, is you must offer a solution that's fast. People look for instant solutions. Let's face it, we're in the fast food society. They want to get their solutions right now. They don't want to have to wait 6 years or 5 months or 10 years down the road. They want solutions quick. Instant solutions are the best sellers. And then finally, the other commonality in great direct response advertising offers is they must be easy for the consumer to put to use. If you have something that's complicated, it's not going to work in direct response advertising. If the consumer has to go through a lot of work, it won't be something they want to buy. They want to make it easy on themselves. And when you convey to them that your offer is easy to put to use, you have a great foundation for a direct response advertising offer. Now, one of the products that I like especially is information. And today with the internet, the opportunity to sell information is incredible, because now you can sell information without postage and printing costs. And advertising on the internet is absolutely phenomenal, because the cost of advertising, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, is so low. But the great thing about information is the markups. Whenever you select a product, service, or information, you have to be conscious of markups. You know, once in a while I get letters from people and they say, well, I've got this great product and I want to sell it for $19.95 and it cost me $11. My friend, that's not going to work. You've got to have margins. And we suggest having at least a 4-to-1 markup from what you ask for the product and what you pay for the product. For instance, if you want to sell it for $19.95, it has to cost you $5 or less. We prefer margins that are much higher, and that's why information is so good, is that people are out there starving for information. And the markups in information are absolutely huge. 20, 50, even 100 times markup is the markups that you can expect on certain types of information. That's why I like information. And again, with the advent of the internet, you can transmit information without printing and postage costs, so your market is sitting there and it's getting your information, and it's almost 100% pure profit. Now, in addition to which, one of the other great places to find products is multi-level marketing companies. You know, multi-level marketing companies sell products and they have great margins, but because they have so many payouts of commission, it's hard for a person starting up in multi-level marketing to make a lot of money. Well, in multi-level marketing, the products that they offer usually can be found. And at every library, there's a source of manufacturers directories that you can find. It's called the Thomas's Register of Manufacturers. And it tells you exactly how to go out and source products. So if you found a multi-level marketing company that's selling a product very, very successfully, go down to the library, spend an afternoon, and you'll find all kinds of people in the area that you're in or the region that you're in that will tell you what type of pricing they can give you for the type of product that you already know is successful. This is another great way to select a product, because you already know that there's a market there, and that's an essential element of direct response marketing. You want to fit a product to a market that already exists. You don't want to fit a market to a product. Remember, sell what people want to buy. It's a basic ethic, and it's a basic pathos of business, and it's worked for years. And that's one of the elements that you need to keep in mind when you're selecting a product. Now, the other thing you need to do is you need to realize that opportunities are everywhere. And one of the things that we hear from people is they say, well, I didn't choose product X because I saw 5 other people selling it. Well, if you've watched television recently, you've seen that everybody is selling a product on how to flatten your abs. And I mean, there are countless numbers of offers. And you know what? They're all successful. Why? The market is enormous. Sell what people want to buy. Keep your eyes and ears open. Don't throw away your mail. Every time an advertising message comes on, whether you're listening to the radio, watching TV, you're looking through your mail, no matter what you're doing, be susceptible to understanding what they're selling and why they're selling what they're selling. The market and the opportunities are available. Make sure that you start to clue yourself in and cue yourself for every opportunity. Now, once you've decided on a product, service, or information, you want to do a little marketing research. Let me clue you in on something. A lot of people that I speak to, they get impatient and they want to get a fast start. And I'm going to give you a couple fast start techniques in just a few minutes. But when you select a product, service, or information, you want to do a little market research. And the greatest place to start is the library. You don't have to go out and buy magazines or newspapers. They've already bought them for you. You want to see what other people are offering. You want to look at their advertising. You want to look at their guarantees, their pricing, any applicable bonuses. And I strongly suggest that you shop these competitive marketers of what you've decided to offer. You'll find out incredible things. Now again, when you sit there and say, well, there's a lot of different people offering the same thing that I want to offer, believe me, competition is good because they've already identified that the market exists. And once you know the market exists, You know that if you do a few things differently and better than your competition, you can get a better share of the market. You know, there's actually companies that all they do is look for successful offers. They aren't too original, but all they do is find people that are succeeding, and then they become their competitors. Because of that, they reduce their trial and error and their margin of risk. That's why I'm urging you to take the time to research. When you research, shop your competition, and look for opportunities that you can improve upon, you'll be amazed that you have so many opportunities for making money in direct response marketing sitting right before your eyes. And you know, the interesting thing about it is that every opportunity has a silver lining. There's an opportunity to make even more money in direct marketing if you just start to think with this mindset in how I can make the offer better. And the way that you do that is once you start making your offer, you listen to what customers want. And as soon as you know what they want, you start to adjust and refine your offer. And we've found that especially with big companies, they never listen to their customers and they never adjust their offers. Because of that, there's so much opportunity in the markets that they're in. So if you see a big company making money with a product, that's usually the best person to attack and try to grab some of their market segment. Now, when you're spending money on direct response advertising, I told you just a moment ago that when you buy a product, you want to be able to sell it for at least 4 times what it cost you. You also need to be aware that you don't want to spend too much on advertising. Usually if you buy a product for $5 and you sell it for $20, you can afford $5 for advertising. So about half of your cost is going to go into your product and your advertising costs. And you can use that as a benchmark. We want to make sure that we measure our advertising and we key our ads. If you've ever received direct mail and you've seen Department C6201, you know that they're testing a certain mailing list. If you watch Nordic Track, for instance, they're a great direct marketer, and you look at their print advertising, you'll always see that it's keyed. You'll see Department A305 or issue I507. They're tracking every single ad to determine the profitability. And that's how we find out how much we're spending on each advertising effort. We key our ads and track our ads to determine how much of our advertising cost has gone into making each sale. Once we know that, we can determine which advertising efforts work and which ones don't. The ones that work, we're going to buy more of. The ones that don't work, we're going to try to renegotiate the rate on those, try to bring it down before we buy more of it. And if we can't, we're just not going to buy any more of that. And it's a very, very simple method of systematically building your business step by step. If you're a great negotiator, you're going to love direct response advertising, because one of the things you're going to be doing is making sure that you buy advertising cost effectively. And that's one of the keys to success in direct response advertising. You know, a little earlier I told you about institutional advertisers. They pay whatever a station, a newspaper, a direct mailer, a cataloger, or a magazine ask. And they do it quite willingly because most of the advertising agencies are the ones placing the ads for institutional advertising. You know what? You know how they get paid? They get paid on how much advertising they buy. So they're not as concerned about the profitability. In your case, you're getting paid on results. And so you want to negotiate the lower rates. I'll tell you a funny story. We used to advertise on a national cable station, which everybody's familiar with. And the rates that we paid were 1/10 what institutional advertisers paid. And you know what? We ran just as much as institutional advertisers, but our cost was low. The reason our cost was low is because when you tell an advertising medium that you're a direct response advertiser, in many cases they have a different set of rates because they know that you know how much their advertising is worth. Now, when you're placing newspaper ads, you also want to make sure that you try to get local rates. Just like direct response and institutional rates being different, local and national rates can often be different in newspapers. You also want to ask for great specials that they might have, because every individual newspaper often runs specials. For instance, if you buy 2 days, you get the 3rd day for free. But when you're just starting up in direct response advertising, we don't want to buy a lot of advertising right out of the gate. We want to find out if our offer is going to work first, but you want to negotiate the best rates in everything that you buy. When you're buying classified advertising, you want to expect to spend about 10 cents to reach 1,000 people. And this is called cost per thousand. This is the way that we equate the value of one newspaper versus another, one radio station versus another, one television station versus another. We determine what our cost is to reach 1,000 people. And the industry, again, that's called cost per thousand. It's going to be a common term that you're going to have to use, but you use that as a common denominator to see the value of advertising. One of the mediums that I've found that's highly negotiable is radio. And one of the techniques that I use in almost every advertising medium, whether I'm buying radio, direct mail, television, or any type of print advertising, is a concept called per inquiry advertising. You may have heard of this concept before, or per order advertising, but essentially what it is a way for you to find out if the advertising medium that you're running your ad in will work before you go out of pocket and risk money. You see, since you're a direct response advertiser, you have a luxury of knowing how much it costs to make every single sale. All of your results are analyzed to determine how much profit you make on every ad effort and every advertising medium where you place your ads. Well, when you approach an advertising medium, like a radio station, TV station, a direct mailer, a magazine, or a local newspaper, and you ask them if they have per inquiry advertising, and you mention to them that you're a direct response advertiser, many of them will say that they do have that type of advertising available. And in some cases, you'll have to negotiate and find the right person to speak to. But per inquiry advertising only pays that advertising source on sales. So if you run an ad and it doesn't work, you're not out of your money. And I've taught this to so many business people around the world, and it can dramatically reduce their risk. And even when a station says no, one of the approaches you want to take is, let me run first on a per inquiry basis. And if my advertising works and you find out and I find out that your station or your newspaper or whatever type of advertising medium that you're offering to me works, I'll be happy to pay what you're asking. Again, what we want to do is negotiate better rates and better terms. I know people that all they do is negotiate on behalf of advertisers, reducing their advertising budget by as much as 150% in many cases, and increasing the response by negotiating direct response advertising deals and per inquiry offers. And this technique can be mastered by you instantly, and it's a technique that you have to put to use to be successful in direct response advertising. One of the services you might consider offering is to create an advertising agency. Whether you're placing ads for yourself or for someone else, one of the advantages that a lot of people aren't aware of is that advertising agencies get paid a commission. Much like your travel agent, when you buy an airline ticket, you don't pay them a commission, but the airline pays them a commission. Well, in the case of placing advertising for other people, you get paid 15% of every dollar they spend. So if you're working with a person that places $1 million worth of advertising a year, you'd get $150,000 just for buying the advertising. And if you have your own product, service, or information you're promoting in direct response advertising, you're going to get paid 15%. And in this case, if you have what's called an in-house agency, you'll save that 15% that you'd pay to an outside advertising agency, and you'd further the discount that you spend on your direct response advertising. Since advertising is one of the big costs in the business of direct response advertising, right now I'm going to share with you some techniques that are highly motivational, highly effective, and most importantly, they're highly profitable. Yeah, let's say that you have a product, service, or information that you want to promote, and you know somebody that has an audience that would probably be interested in what you have to promote. Well, one of the things that you can work with them on is an insert offer. You could create an advertising offer that when they send out their product, fulfill their service, or provide their fulfillment of their information to their audience, you could ride along for free on a per inquiry or per order basis. These types of insert deals are terrific because just like getting a per inquiry or per order deal with a radio, TV station, newspaper, or magazine, you're only going to pay them on orders. And the nice thing is before you spend a lot of money in market research, advertising, or product development, you can find out through a little market testing through these inserts whether people want to buy what you have to offer. Another way that you can really capitalize on this type of technique is to use a joint venture or endorsement from the people that are fulfilling to the audience that's probably going to be favorably disposed to what you have to offer. Now, with these joint ventures, you're going to get the endorsement of the people that they serve. And, you know, if you go to a new town and you want to go out to a restaurant, you're going to ask people, where's a good place to eat? You value that endorsement. And so don't the customers that are being served by someone selling a product, service, or information to an audience that you'd like to reach. These joint venture endorsements are incredible in jump-starting a business, and I've done hundreds of them, and anyone can put them together because there's no risk on your part, and there's no risk on the person endorsing your part as long as what you have to offer helps your audience. Another way that you can advertise very, very effectively is you can do co-op mailings. Co-op mailings have been around for years, and you've probably received tons of co-op mailers. Have you ever gotten a number 10 envelope, a business-size envelope with 10, 15, 20 offers in it? Well, if you went out to 7 other advertisers, included your offer, and you're the 8th advertiser, made them pay for all the expenses, you could mail thousands upon thousands of direct mail pieces every single week without any cost, and you'd have zero cost advertising in your advertising budget and your promotion. And this is done time and time again. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine started a business on this very simple concept, and now this business is one of the biggest advertising businesses available today. The internet is also an incredible place to get low cost and no cost advertising. If you haven't been on the internet yet, I highly suggest that you hook up today and start surfing the net. You're going to get addicted, and you're going to find all types of places where you can post messages, you can get involved with news groups, get involved with online seminars, and start to promote whatever you have to offer. These low-cost techniques are essential for boosting the sales of your product, service, or information, and they're all part of the direct response advertising methods that I teach. One of the hidden opportunities in direct response marketing that a lot of people aren't familiar with is called licensing. Licensing is a lot like getting a franchise, but without paying the franchise fee. Let me give an example. Let's say that you read a magazine and you see a product that you'd like to offer. You call the company and ask them if they're advertising on television, radio, or in classified or display ads in newspapers, and they say no. You approach them and ask them if you can sell their product, service, or information in other types of non-competitive forms of media. And if they say yes, you've already reduced the amount of time that it takes in the learning curve of finding out what works and what doesn't. They know why people buy their product. They know the advertising messages at work, and they have a control price as to what will sell and what won't sell and at what price. They probably have a guarantee policy in place, and they fulfill their own product. So you could do this right from the comfort of your own home. Now, another technique you can use in licensing is if you become successful at producing great direct response advertising, you can find business people, write ads for them, license your advertising to them, and get paid a monthly fee. You know, if you go out and you find 20 businesses that are willing to pay you $500 for your advertisements, that's a $10,000 a month income just for licensing your information. So you can license from people and you can license to people, but it's a tremendous technique that will produce profits in direct response marketing. Here's a corporate espionage trick that I really love. Soon, I'd like you to go down to the library and ask to see the SRDS. And I want you to look up mailing list companies. If you're interested in selling a product, service, or information, you'll probably find someone else that's either selling it right now or has sold it in the past. You want to contact the mailing list company that manages their mailing list. And when you contact them, ask them for their data card on the specific list that you're interested in. And you're going to love this because the data card, once you receive it, is going to tell you exactly what they charge for their product, service, or information. It's going to tell you who they sold it to, how many people they sold it to, and how many people were female and how many people were male, and their ages. So it's going to get an incredible amount of market research to you instantly. You'll actually be able to tell almost down to the dollar how much money they took in gross sales in the last year. So it helps you determine whether you're pursuing this product, service, or information is a good idea or not. Another great place to find incredible products is the Patent and Trademark Office. Do you know that 95% of the people that are inventors out there have spent a lot of money, a lot of time to come up with a great idea, but they've never marketed it. And they'd be elated to hear from you because their idea has been sitting there in many cases for years and no one's ever done anything with it. A terrific opportunity that also exists is, once again at the library, the video log. It has a list of all the videos produced, and many of these videos aren't marketed, and they're great videos. They can be used as a standalone product and often as a bonus. It doesn't cost that much to duplicate the videotapes, but in many cases it costs a lot to produce them, so the video log is an incredible resource of information. These types of tips, tricks, and techniques can help to add more profit to our direct response advertising business. Now, as you grow your direct response marketing business, what I'd like you to do is determine how much profit you're making on each advertising effort, and then slowly and gradually take what you make, reinvest it into the business. One of the concepts that I want you to grasp a hold of and embody and embrace forevermore is to substitute ingenuity for capital. Anyone can spend money. It takes somebody that has good foresight and vision and some pretty good logic to make sure that they're ingenious in everything that they do. So you want to grow gradually and conservatively. The next thing that you want to realize is that most business people, as I said earlier, don't have the skill of marketing and selling what they have to offer. You want to develop this skill because that's the key to business. But another skill that you want to develop as your business gets bigger is you want to create systems within your business to produce predictable results. You want to analyze everything that you do in your business. You know, Ross Perot said something that's interesting about hiring employees, and he's one of the most successful entrepreneurs ever. He looks for people that have already had a history of winning and succeeding. So when you start to surround yourself with people in building your direct marketing business, you'll want to look for people that have success in their past. These are the best people to surround yourself with. In addition to which, the one thing that you want to do is make sure that you manage your time effectively. A lot of people will steal your time if you'll let them. Make sure that you have a clear action plan every day, knowing exactly what you want to do, and then follow through with your actions. And people that try to divert you from the path that you've decided to take each day, don't spend time with them. Tell them that you don't have time. Be nice about it, but try to make sure that you understand one thing. Your time is very precious. Treat it that way, and you'll be more successful than you've ever imagined. Document everything that you do, and look at how much time you waste every day, and you'll be surprised at how much time you're putting aside that's extremely valuable in building your business. Now, just imagine right now sitting at home and you decide to sell a book. And what if I told you that you wouldn't have any printing cost, no postage, no inventory, and you'd never have to ship this book to people? Would you believe me? Well, now it's possible. It's called the internet. And if you watch TV, read newspapers, get any magazines, I'm certain you've heard of it. Let me share some amazing stories that have gotten my attention, and I'm certain will get yours. You can buy almost anything you could imagine on the internet. You can buy Reeboks, plane tickets, cars, just about any product, service, or information is available on the internet, and it's global. You can instantly start with anything that you want to offer and make it into a worldwide business. Let me give you a couple of examples that are amazing. In New York, there's a bakery called Zaro's. They sell more bread on the internet than all of their 14 locations combined. A 15-year-old, Mike Simmons, made $800,000 selling tips on a video game. Hawaii's Best Espresso Coffees, a small coffee shop, has been so successful they take in $15,000 a month, they decided to close their coffee shop. Richard Bangs, he built a $15 million travel agency by starting out with a newsletter, and now his business has exploded as a result of the internet. Now, if you have a product, service, or information, and you're interested in the internet, I suggest right now that you call the number on your screen and ask for John Richardson in our office. He'll tell you what's working and what isn't on the internet and give you the hard, cold facts of how you can profit right away. I'd like to share my 10 habits of being successful, and I hope that they help you as much as they've helped me. Number one, you have to have a vision for yourself, and you have to create a plan. Now, I know that you probably heard this before, but it's incredibly important. If you plan, it's much easier to succeed. Number 2, once you've created a plan, set deadlines to accomplish what you've planned. And most importantly, number 3, take action. Don't put things off. Don't think about them. Just get out and start doing them. Sure, some things will work and some things won't, but if you're taking action, you're moving closer towards your goal. Number 4, start accounting for your time. I want you to do something. The next 3 days, write down everything you do in every waking moment. You're going to be surprised how much time you waste. I'd like you to start accounting for your time because it's going to help you move closer towards your dreams and your goals. Number 5, if you're in contact with negative people, you're going to have to shut them out. They're going to continue to tell you that you can't do things. You have to put those people aside and go further and faster towards your goals. Number 6, have fun. It's easy to be profitable in business if you're having fun. Enjoy what you do, look forward to what you do, and you're going to enjoy life a lot more. Number 7, stop firefighting. You know, you can hire people to fight fires for you, and many times you can put those fires off. Try to be proactive, not reactive. Proactive people are the most successful people that I've ever come in contact with. Reactive people never have a plan and they never get closer to their goals because they're always fighting fires. They're reacting rather than proacting. And number 8, use failure as a positive. Everyone fails. Many of the marketing efforts that we make fail. We expect them to fail, but that's how we get them to work, is through testing and direct response advertising. Listening to our customers, we adjust those offers to make them successful. Many of them fail at the start. So if you fail on your first offer, don't be upset about it. That's part of the process. What we want you to do is master the process. Number 9, analyze your actions and everything that you do in business and test everything that you do to try to get better results. And number 10, very importantly, listen to your customers. You know, many of the things that we do are a result of our customers saying that we'd like you to do something differently. The customers will tell you what they want to buy. And if you react and develop your future actions in concert with what they've told you to do, you can be incredibly successful no matter whether you're selling a product, service, or information. You've probably heard about my famous 4-day, very intensive Summit for Success seminars. They're available by application only. The attendees gladly pay $7,000 for this 4-day event. Now, one of the things that you're about to see is some outtakes from my most recent Summit for Success seminar. And they include my partner, Mark Ziebach, and one of my favorite people, Dr. Paul Hartunian, the man who's received over $10 million in free advertising and most famously known for his efforts in selling the Brooklyn Bridge. That's right, the Brooklyn Bridge. So sit back and enjoy, and I hope to see you soon at one of my Summit for Success seminars. But what we found over the years in interacting with all kinds of businesses in hundreds of different industries is that most people don't test anything. And we found, we just recently did a postcard mailing, and some of you might have responded. How many people get a postcard from us? Okay. All right, we had 2 different headlines in that postcard. We did what's called an A-B split test. We sent out an equal number of postcards with one headline and an equal number with another headline. We'll tell you a little bit later which headline won, but one headline outproduced the other headline by 250%. No matter how much experience you have in crafting headlines, you'll never know until you test which one's going to be best. And I think that's the important point about headlines. But as far as an order of priority of what you test when you're doing any direct response advertising, is you always test the headline or the equivalent, which is the opening statement in a TV commercial, a radio commercial. You always test those first. The results that you can get by testing headlines or the similar equivalent can be as much as 500% or more boosted response just by testing the headline. Often you'll sit there and you'll have a great concept for a headline. And where most people miss in headlines is they forget to think who they're writing the headline for. You should always think about the intended audience in which you're writing the headline for and no one else. Often people write headlines that are amusing or cute or vague. Don't. What we have found in the past is that the specific benefits of what you have to offer, when they're put and articulated correctly, succinctly and simply in a headline, are the best headlines in selling direct response products. Here's some headlines that are very strong and very successful. Everybody ever seen 8-minute abs on television? Hugely successful video offer. And we're going to go over how successful and why it's successful as we do the advertising clinic tomorrow. But firmer, flatter abs in just 8 minutes a day. Pretty strong, compelling promise, reader benefits, succinct, tells you exactly what the offer is. Lose 10 pounds in 10 days, guaranteed, or you owe us nothing. Finish your college degree in just 3 hours a week of your spare time. Okay? Compelling, strong benefits. Some of you that went to college only spent 3 hours a week of your time. But compelling, strong benefits will articulate very clearly to the reader, the viewer, the listener, specifically what your offer is and exactly why they should listen. Arthritis sufferers, hemorrhoids, one-word, two-word headlines are very, very effective, especially in classified ads. That's an important thing to talk about because we found that classified ads and the leverage that you can get from classified ads is much more so than any other type of advertising.
Yeah, I've had a lot of different classified ads selling booklets. One of my other good headlines was postal jobs, $12.97-16.41 an hour. And there's a reason why we use odd digits. We don't want to look like an ad. You know, I'm amazed, particularly in mail, the great extent that people will go through to make their mail piece look like junk mail. You know, they'll put a 4-color envelope, they'll spend all this money on it, and it looks like something you're going to just toss in the garbage when you're sorting your mail. What we try to do is make our offers look official, try to give them some sort of credibility.
Nordic Track is a great example of someone that keys every single ad that they do. If you go to the library, which I strongly suggest, and you look through periodicals, you will see that Nordic Track constantly is testing. Constantly. And you will see that when you call in on a Nordic Track offer, it says Department J192, right? You ever seen Nordic Track ads? I mean, I keep asking Mark, calling him up, going, you know, who in the United States doesn't have a Nordic Track machine? Because they've been out there for years. And a friend of ours was the guy who got them on TV. So Nordic Track is constantly tracking everything that they do on their soft offer closes. Now, I had an interesting experience a couple years ago. I called up Nordic Track. Have you ever had the experience where you wanted to buy but someone talked you out of it? I had that experience. I called Nordic Track up, and I get on the phone, and they had this, I don't know if you guys saw it. I don't know if you've ever tried the cross-country ski machine. Some of you probably have it. First time I tried the cross-country ski machine, I'm in a health club, and I didn't put the belt around me, fall flat on my face. I'm going, wow, what a great machine. You know, it's the hardest thing in the world to do. But they had this downhill machine that they came out, and I'm not a cross-country skier, but I like to downhill ski. And so they have this great machine, and you know, I read the ad, and I called the 800 number, and the guy says, well, we'll send you information. And I'm saying, you know, I'd like to get this machine. Well, we'll send you some information. No, you're not listening. You know, I'd like to get, well, no, we'll send you some information. You know, and finally frustrated, I said, okay, you know, went from there. All the guy had to do was say, give me your credit card. Sale was already made. And that's the other part in making soft offers, is that if you have live people there and you know the buying signals where someone's saying how much, how can I get it, do you have rush delivery, you can respond to those. That's one of the reasons why it's good to interact and take your own calls, is so you understand what the market's telling you.
It is cheap. You can't get any marketing cheaper than this. That two full-page stories in Forbes magazine cost me 15 cents. Where did I come up with 15 cents? That's how much it cost me to fax a one-page press release to Forbes magazine. They got the one-page press release from me. They called up, did a story, 2 full pages in Forbes magazine. You can send a one-page fax anywhere in the country after 5 p.m. for 15 cents. If you want to do a marketing test of any product that you have, any product at all, You can do a great marketing test for about $100. For $100, you're going to get out 700 press releases, 700 contacts. Folks, let me tell you, if you send out a press release and you follow my system on how to send out this press release and you get no response, I don't think you have a product. You did a whole campaign there for $100. If you want to get extravagant, spend $200. You will get a test marketing for $200. You will get 1,400 press releases faxed out. If in 1,400, again, you didn't get any response, your product is a dead issue as far as I'm concerned. You want to keep running your advertising, you want to run those full-page ads to prove it's a dead issue, fine. All these magazines will sell you all these full-page ads to prove you have a dead issue, and they'll probably call up and say, did you ever send out a press release on this? Yeah, what happened? I got no response. Right, you have no product. Great way to test. It's cheap.
You know, I found that too. I'll run 2 ads in that publication.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What I'll do is maybe run a classified and display ad as well, or try to run bigger ads. What you're trying to do is, if you're getting a great return on the money you spend, you want to spend more money on that single publication.
What I have learned at the seminar, or this seminar, is that I have just now increased my selling points 1,000%. I have already made contacts here that in the next month or so should boost my revenues well over what I have ever earned in my entire lifetime.
Well, I was called the CEO of 2 separate companies. My primary function was marketing and sales. Now I'm beginning to think that maybe the marketing manager was a misnomer after learning what I should have been doing all these years. And to talk about what we learned down here, I guess we learned every conceivable way we could go to market with a product. And as also every conceivable way we could advertise this to reach that point. I guess without getting into too many adjectives, I can only describe my experience here as, after the Thursday session, I'm awake at 2:15 at night, trying to massage over everything that I learned, and my sleep was shot. Now, Friday was a more intense day, and we repeated the same scenario. Last night, I'm up until 3:15, again trying to absorb how I'm going to put this into practical use, knowing full well that I had a 6 o'clock call this morning. And I guess the only regret that I have about the whole course is that I wasn't exposed to it 40 years ago.
The thing that's impressed me the most about the weekend really has been the sincerity of Brad Richdale. Coming from the Midwest, obviously many times you're concerned about the credibility of people. And I know for me, that's a very important issue. And coming and having the chance to meet Brad and his associates really has renewed my hope in people, especially about the direct marketing business, because obviously there's a lot of people who are out there trying to sell their books, trying to sell their videos, but the opportunity to come and to learn directly from Brad has been an experience of which I'll remember the rest of my life.